services available to them like we do other types of immigrants. But again, I'll leave that for the rest of the panel discussion. I would again just highlight here that students have decreased. This has a potential impact on revenues and students themselves, whether they're studying abroad or in Canada. And we need to consider what that looks like for students' long-term prospects, especially if they consider settling here in Canada. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Robert. So now I'm going to ask Leah Knorr, who is representing the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, to provide an employer perspective.
Good afternoon. I had my screen off. I hope I'm not freezing over time. The internet seems to have difficulty. You'll have to let me know. And Francine, I just want to thank you for inviting us here today. It's a nice forum to be at. And Jerome and Robert, I really do appreciate your comments. Going to build off of them a little and look forward to our other speakers as well as building off mine. Just a few words. I'll focus mostly on international students, but just here on the Canadian Chamber. We pride ourselves as the voice of business, representing 200,000 businesses across the country, across sectors and across sizes. We have a strong network of over 450 boards of trade and local chambers across this country that support our work as well. And what I would say overall, just sort of generally, is that we are proponents of immigration and continue to be, despite the change in the labor market since the onset of the crisis. And the expectations that that employment rates will not return to pre-crisis levels anytime in the immediate future. We continue to believe that immigration will be continue to play an important role. And as part of that, we include in immigration the role of temporary permit holders, international students, and temporary foreign workers. That they play an important source. Play an important role in the source of talent pipelines, both in the short, medium, and longer term. Immigrants also play an important role in inclusive growth and adding to the diversity of the Canadian workforces and communities across the country. Overall, what we would say, James, I saw your chart, and we do appreciate that and fully support the need to accept immigration under family and refugee humanitarian classes. Having said that, I don't think it's surprising that we as we have prior to the crisis period, and I would say even probably or possibly more importantly now, focus on the economic class of immigration. And what we would say, and Jerome, I take your point about integration, so I'm actually going to use the term alignment, but I think it is important, regardless of your class of or under which category you do immigrate to Canada. Labor market alignment is key to support all classes and sets them up for success and their families from the beginning. So labor market integration is important. I think what I'll do is highlight just quickly 3 and possibly 4 areas of issues when it comes to international students, and we'll take a look at it very much from the labor market perspective. And what I would say overall is this delineation or separation between work and study. And I would say, again, that starts from day one when you apply and the whole concept of dual intent. I do understand and I know the answer to the concept of dual intent, but I think it was referred to as well, right? We say that we value international students as a source of potential labor and permanent residency, and I think we should be making that clear from the start. The second piece is as they are students, and I think, as they are students, this was alluded to as well. I know the off-campus work permits are one thing, but in this whole world, in the Canadian education ecosystem around what was co-ops and internships and is now work integrated learning. It's that study versus work tension within as they're studying, and the requirement for co-op work permits for international students to participate in that. There's some other issues around that as well. This is all setting up for my recommendations. And I think, Robert, you alluded to this as well upon graduation. The idea, we do have, and I will in our solutions give credit to the government where it is absolutely due, but as students, as international students tip out of the post-secondary or other education and training systems where they might get support from their institutions, they're going along the path through postgraduate work permit and are increasingly separated from their institutions, but not quite permanent residents. As temporary residents, they don't get access to the settlement services in most cases that will help them with a labor market integration. Over the brought this up to any number of ministers, and I do appreciate the response of, we're only accepting 300,000, give or take, immigrants a year. You've got 600 now plus, international students. We can't provide them all with services, but we do have an issue, helping them along that pathway for any temporary permit holders. And I think the last thing I'll say, just to flag in case I haven't or won't get a chance to, someone spoke to, it's the whole issue of processing delays wherever you come along the path. But what I would say from an employer's perspective, I don't know how many, if I was here in person, I'd ask for a show of hands of whoever's had to explain to an employer what implied status is and what that means for possible employment. I think those sort of complicating issues can't be understated. And I think I'll leave it at that. Thank